Hello, my name is Davin Watts, and I'm going to tell you about the dispositions that I possess and some of the things that I want to do when I'm become a special needs special ed teacher. I definitely possess the disposition of educators should demonstrate professional friendliness, warmth, genuine caring, and the relationships with others, providing intellectual, emotional, and spiritual support. One, I'm a parent of a special needs child. My son, Caden Watts, is 10 and he has autism. And as a parent, I have been learning and doing different strategies like applied behavior therapy, um, working with teachers, having going to outside clinics and resources to get behavior and to understand how to best help my son cope and develop the strategies he needs to be successful as a student in society and with anything as home as he grows. So early on, we had him diagnosed at 2 years old, and with that early intervention, it was key. A lot of parents, like I was in denial that I spoke to, and I've been part of support groups and part of my church, and I found that the earlier catch the disability and the earlier you can get the strategies to help your students and your for my son, the better off the child will be in the long run. And so I found that as a good relationship with the teacher and as a parent that I helped my son tremendously, and he's a different child right now than he was when he was 2, 3, 4 years old. He has a lot of strategies and a lot of coping mechanisms that help him deal with his autism. And so my goal is to be involved with the parents to get that teamwork to help bridge the gap between home and school, especially when it comes to behavior or simple consequences. The parent will support the teacher in that they can work together in the educational pathway. Another question was, what dispositions do you need to work on when you're in the classroom as your first year teacher? I would say for me would be the disposition that said that teachers understand the impact of community involvement and servantship leadership as it applies to the welfare of others in an educational setting. Reason being, I have 3 kids, and time is hard. I have to balance work, life, school. Everything is just hard. So time management is hard for me to be able to balance that life with my students when I'm teaching and with my own children. And so to be involved in the community is just another hard thing for me time wise. Now, I've done Autism Speaks in Texas. I've done Special Olympics. I've been a part of my church community outreach. I've done a lot of things that you just have to make time, and I can do it. It's hard for me to commit to obligations that I get way too busy, and then I'm not able to meet certain schedules and obligations. So that's another thing that I'll be working on. Another thing too that I think a professional educator should look like and behave and their standard of thinking and actions would be that I believe that all students should be set and support realistic expectations for my students. Educators should exercise sound judgment and ethical behavior. My job as a teacher is to give the best education possible that meets the standards of the state and the federal guidelines. The following legal obligations I'm committed to is the FERPA and then CAPA and then HIPAA. The ethics of teaching, too, is important to balance the protection of the students both physically and emotionally with the demands of your teaching and while shepherding the students' development and educational needs. Kids have different learning styles, too, and I'm a hands-on learner. I've always been that way when I was a kid, and so as a teacher, I'm going to get in there and help the student hands-on to figure out what's going to help them learn the best. and different students have learned different ways. So I'm very flexible and determined to help the students any way possible. And I'm a big advocator on trying new things and whatever works. Getting with the parents, what works at home, what works at school, is key, is crucial. So my ability to be hands-on and to work with students multiple intelligence using multisensory approaches. I'll also use manipulatives and teach memory strategies. I would definitely have a calendar, a plan for the day, behavior charts, a lot of things that would be tools for success in a successful classroom. When I was a teacher aide, I definitely knew the different levels of severity between behavior and for student learning, and so you gotta be very flexible and very patient is another key. So I have possessed all those qualities, and I look forward to teaching my own classroom someday. Thank you.